welcome to the Week 1 data dump.
Yes, science.
My calculations are correct. You're going to see some serious...
So yeah, some serious stuff indeed. All right, Ray, give us your first data point here for the Week 1 show.
Yeah, we can't talk Week 1 about talking about the opening game, Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. And we're going to talk a little Cowboys quickly, but we got to touch on the Packers because the Packers' big addition of Micah Parsons there is fantasy implication for us, Matt, across the board. Over the last 4 years, the Cowboys have been the league's best defense with Micah Parsons on the field by EPA per play across an over 1,000 play sample size. They are the league's second worst defense over that same stretch by EPA per play when Micah Parsons isn't on the field. So not here to talk the defense of the Dallas Cowboys in fantasy football. Matt, I want to talk about the offensive side. Micah Parsons is gone. This defense has a hole on the edge with one of the best young edge rushers in the NFL. He's gone. This is a defense we were already a little skeptical about from their ability to stop opposing offenses. I'm just going to cut right to the chase. Could we be looking at the sort of the NFC version of the Cincinnati Bengals where the offensive weapons, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Jake Ferguson, even some of the running backs, like you just want pieces of this offense because defensively, this may be a team that's given up a lot of yards and a lot of points starting on Thursday night.
I'm so glad that you framed it this way, Ray, because Scott Pianowski and I do the who's going to be this year's Carnival Team, which is the unbelievable offense with the defense that constantly forces them into pass-heavy game scripts where they need to push the pedal to the floor to keep up. And obviously last year was the Bengals, as you said. They're one of the best Carnival teams in history because that defense was so bad and they have great offensive personnel. And at the time of when we taped that episode, which is like in June, I think we did that. I remember saying to Scott, yeah, I'd love to consider Dallas for this, but as long as Micah Parsons is on the field, they're going to have like a Flores defense where they can't be that bad. They can't be 2024 Bengals defense bad. Micah Parsons ain't going to be on the field now for the Dallas Cowboys. Man, he's going to be out there for the Green Bay Packers. So the entire equation has changed where, yes, this could absolutely, Ray, be the Carnival Team of 2025. By the way, two things on the Parsons trade. I mean, there's a lot on the Parsons trade. Number one, I can't believe this damn show is live every day at 5 p.m. Eastern. And the one time we pre-record something, because we got everybody's on the show, the one time that the Micah Parsons trade breaks like 5 minutes after 5 p.m. on Thursday, I was itching. I couldn't believe. I mean, I was trying to get the hell out of the house to go on a little getaway with my wife. So I wasn't that bummed about it, but at the same time, a part of me was bummed about it. That's number one. Number two, hilarious bit by the Cowboys. A lot of hilarious stuff with the Cowboys, but hilarious bit by the Cowboys to say, well, we got to get better at stopping the run. Michael Parsons is like freelancing a little bit. That's the stuff they leak out there. And over the weekend, they signed Deron Bland, who's a nice cornerback. Okay. But definitely a freelancer and not somebody that's like sticking his nose in at the run, like as a tackling corner. So hilarious bit. I think this defense is not going to be very good this year.
Yeah, and if it's not, you want pieces of this offense. We've already seen Dak Prescott be an elite distributor of the football, producing high-end fantasy points. It's CeeDee Lamb. It's George Pickens. Jake Ferguson at tight end is going to be useful. And again, I do believe by byproduct of necessity, one of these running backs will emerge as one of the ones that you'll want in fantasy. It happens every single year. We knew it was Tony Pollard once Zeke was a little bit past his prime. And last year, even Rico Dowdle mattered for fantasy. So looking at this offense, there are a lot of question marks all over the place, but the consistent things that we need for fantasy is Dak, CeeDee Lamb, Pickens.
And the football is going to those guys, man. Honestly, I know this is like too little too late because, again, most drafts have happened now at this point. But if we had spent all off season and known that like Micah Parsons was not going to be on this team, I was already way ahead of consensus on George Pickens. I might have thought that like CeeDee Lamb would make sense as the first overall pick off the board in fantasy football drafts. And I had it ranked Ja'Marr Chase and Bijan Robinson were 1 and 2, but I can really see a scenario where CeeDee Lamb has one of those like 200 target seasons. We haven't seen that, I think, since 2015 when AB and Julio Jones did it. But I truly could see CeeDee Lamb having one of those type of seasons, man. He's just I say this a lot. Like, it's really hard. Like, when you're a true perimeter receiver, it's a lot easier to double cover that player. It's a lot easier to bracket coverage towards that guy. When you're the move around slot heavy, not slot only, but move like slot heavy guy that CeeDee Lamb is, it's really hard to double cover and bracket that guy because you just have to, Ray, you know this, you have to like break your defensive rules in order to do it. Teams are willing to do it early, especially early last year to the Dallas Cowboys. Like I've just been watching him back, and there were teams that were really going well out of their way to break their defensive rules to account for CeeDee Lamb in true hard, like double coverage situations. You can't do that now that George Pickens is there. So I really just, again, if you've already drafted your team, you already know these guys, you're starting them in week 1, but man, my season-long expectations for these two players have definitely changed now that Micah Parsons is not there to elevate that defense as the stats you showed here.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And Pickens and Lamb, they work so well together. Some of the things that George does well, it just complements CeeDee. It allows CeeDee Lamb to truly be interchangeable across any of the wide receiver positions. Just a true matchup nightmare. I'm excited for this offense. Just this trade means a lot more than just making the playoffs and winning Super Bowls. For fantasy football, this defense got significantly weaker, and they should yield more points, and in return, we'll get more opportunities on the offensive side.
Does it change anything about how you're viewing the Packers offense on the other side of it now that Micah Parsons is a member of the Green Bay Packers?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you add somebody like that to a defense that was already pretty damn good, you're hoping that they put the offense in more opportune scoring positions, turnovers, forced fumbles, pressures that lead to interceptions potentially. You know, I haven't done the data on this, Matt, but I'd be curious sort of how many offensive possessions a player like Micah Parsons just adds to a team, right? Yeah. Over the course of a season, when you've got somebody like that who's getting sacks on third down, who's forcing, bad pressure throws, I absolutely think this is a small byproduct, not enough to just drastically jump Jordan Love to QB1, but this should put Jordan Love in some better situations field position-wise, which means better things for Josh Jacobs. Football works in concert with one another. These things aren't independent of the whole collection of how teams score points and stop giving up points. Offense and defense, like, they marry together to make what we're looking for, which is good opportunity for scoring fantasy points.
Yeah, and I think for the listener, it might be confusing to say, well, hey, this is good for the Cowboys passing game because they are now going to be in these pass-first situations because Micah Parsons is not there. But this might also be good news for the Packers because their defense is going to get better. But these are two very different teams and two very different ecosystems, where in Dallas, you are relying on a lot of like volume and just how often they're going to have to push the ball, because they can say what they want about the run game. And I think maybe the sum might be better than the whole might be better than the sum of the parts, right? In the run game. Like, maybe none of these running backs truly emerge, but I do think the interior of the offensive line could be good. Like, maybe that happens, but truly, if that's going to be a good offense and they're going to stay in games, it's going to be because George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb go off. On the flip side, for Green Bay, if you're drafting Jordan Love as a, kind of sleeper QB1, a high-end QB2 in Superflex, or you're bullish on Matthew Golden or one of these pass catchers, you mostly are relying on efficiency doing that. And I'm with you. I don't know the stats off the top of my head, but having a good defense can really help in that scenario. Look no further than the team that's going to play Dallas on Thursday night, the Philadelphia Eagles. Great defense, constantly puts the offense in advantageous situations where, the volume's not there for A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith to go crazy, but just think of where you're taking these Packers receivers versus where you were taking the Eagles wideouts. So that boost in the overall like game scripts and the scoring positions can be really good for a team like the Green Bay Packers in particular.
Yeah, you broke it down beautifully. I mean, I don't even want to add anything else to that because you did a good job of just showing how and illustrating how, that side of the ball can help change and impact the offensive side. It's a beautiful thing, this crazy game called football, man.
I know, and I can't wait to see it like really actually play out here. Just see all the things we're going to be totally dead wrong about. Man, it's gonna hit, baby. Week 1 overreaction season is going to absolutely hit. Just last point on this, Ray, or just last question. Anything else you're looking for in week 1 from Dallas other than these 3 guys? Like just anything that's on your radar, any kind of like matchup in week 1? Because obviously they're going against a great Eagles defense. Is there something you might in particular have your eyes on there?
Yeah, I mean, I was looking today at just sort of CeeDee Lamb's performances versus Philadelphia historically. I think last year, his past 2 games with Philadelphia, not very good, but the 2 games before that, I mean, he's like 150 yards in each of those games. Yeah. I think one of the things that we might see that I don't want people to go too crazy over here in week 1 is KaVontae Turpin is a kick return guy. He was used as kind of a gadget offensive weapon. There's been this constant drumbeat of just getting him touches in the offense. I'm just watching what that actually looks like. I don't want to overreact to the 3rd, maybe even 4th option in the passing attack with Dallas, but there's a lot of vibes around KaVontae Turpin, and you see him right here on the screen. Like, he's going to be on the field in 3 wide receiver sets, Matt. Like, I don't think it's Jalen Tolbert. It's not Brooks. It's probably going to be KaVontae Turpin. So just his usage in this offense, again, if they're going to be this NFC version of Cincinnati, even Andre Yoshivas mattered to a degree some weeks in certain formats for fantasy football. So if we're talking about one of those offenses that can throw the ball 600 times, CeeDee will get his. Pickens will get his, and Jake Ferguson, the tight end, will get his allotment. I'll just be curious to see if a 3rd person emerges in this passing attack in an unlikely name, but boy, is he dynamic.
Yeah, it's a good shout out, and actually a player I'd maybe compare him to is Tutu Atwell for the Los Angeles Rams. And I know that people are hearing them be like, well, Tutu Atwell, what are you talking about? But if you do any of these like sort by big time, like first downs per route run, top 20 yards per route run, top 20 lists, Tutu Atwell will randomly find his way onto those lists because he's an efficient player. Like, he's not a full-time player for the Los Angeles Rams, and I don't expect KaVontae Turpin to be a full-time player for the Dallas Cowboys. I think he might be, like a 50 to 60% route participation player because I do think Jalen Tolbert will play a little bit. Turpin's just not. They wanted to be the kick returner. He's not built to be like. You look at the picture for Sean on the screen. He's not built to be like a full-time wideout out there. But he could be that pre-snap motion, the eye candy guy to set these 2 players, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, up into advantageous situations to get man zone tells. And sometimes, like in Los Angeles with Tutu Atwell, Matthew Stafford likes to look. He's just going to rip it. And I think for the Dallas Cowboys offense, Dak Prescott likes to look. He might just rip it every now and again. So, yeah, definitely like a very deep sleeper. But I think you're right on this one that he is a guy that is going to play a big role for this team and is the wide receiver 3 right now behind George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, just another name to add. Just put a star by. Those week 1 waiver wires, everyone goes crazy for the hot thing that week. But Turpin's going to carry the ball too. So just keep your eye on this offense. Hell, it's the only game we got on Thursday, so we'll be watching everybody from the team, man. That's all I got from this one now.
Yeah, I actually thought last night when I was watching CeeDee Lamb, there was a game, I think it was against the Niners where maybe it was against the Giants. He had a couple like really good runs, including one that was just like an off tackle, like outside zone run. I'm gonna be like, damn, CeeDee Lamb RB1 for the Cowboys. I thought about tweeting it out, and then I was like, everybody's watching UNC get their ass kicked right now. Nobody cares about this CeeDee Lamb run against the Giants from like week 4.
We already got a receiver playing running back in Chicago with DJ Moore, Matt. We don't need another one in Dallas.